It's week one, everybody, right here on the LineStar app. Can you believe it? We're finally here, and there's nothing left to do right now except get into the huddle. Huddle up, everybody, because the pre-snap starts right now.
Set, 5, ready.
You're listening to the PreSnap podcast, brought to you by LineStar, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now, here are your hosts, fantasy football experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome, everybody, to the pre-snap right here on the LineStar app. It's me, and it's Chris Meaney, and it's week one. It's finally here. Oh, God, Chris, I'm so emotional. I'm excited. Tonight, we have football. What's better than that? We're recording here on Thursday the 5th. Obviously, we're going to be breaking down that Sunday slate for you mostly, but Chris, it's here. It's Christmas. How excited are you? Let's see, 1 to 10.
Oh, 10 for sure. Yeah, if you gave me 1 to 99, it would be 99. Yeah, the excitement level is through the roof. I am so happy that football is finally here because, I mean, we're working every day in the fantasy industry and just dissecting all the games, all the drafts, it's just all that stuff is now over with. We got football. We can talk about games. We can talk about, the strategy, the week-to-week strategy, the matchups. I'm happy, man. It is here. Let's do it.
And, I love about you, you're one of those guys where, if someone says, you can only give 100%, right? You're that 100%. You're not that 110, 120. That's unrealistic. That's not a real number. If I give you 1 to 10, you pick 10. You don't tell me, oh, I'm 11 and a half. I'm so excited. No, that's not what we do here.
Not a thing.
That's right. And we're going to remind everybody tomorrow, make sure you keep an eye out because the pre-snap wagering show is going to be out. So if you are going to play the NFL ponies, as it were, and get out there and look for the overs and the unders and the prop bets and everything in between, Mike Randall is going to be joining me on Fridays to do that show. So it is going to be live and in charge, baby. We're going to be very exciting this football season. And look, we're going to go and do everything we did last year. Same deal, Chris and I. Only the good thing is we're doing Mondays as well. So on Mondays, we'll be previewing a little Monday, Thursday. We'll preview Monday Night Football, do a recap of everything that happened. That'll be a fun show. Every Thursday, you're going to have this. It'll be a little earlier in October. Unfortunately, in the afternoons here, it's going to come out in September. But once we roll in October, it'll be out probably first thing in the morning. So make sure you subscribe to the pre-snap with me and Chris Meaney if you're playing DFS. Plus, it's good to wait as long as you can because you never know when you're going to get news like, a possible Antonio Brown suspension. I mean,
it just doesn't stop with him. It just doesn't stop. It's unreal. You and I were talking before we got on about some of the shares that we have and even recent drafts leading up to week one, this guy going in the middle of the third round. And it was really a no-brainer at that point. You're going to have to deal with some stuff. And obviously, he could be a headache for you all year. I've already went and, I have a lot of Tyrell Williams shares. Somebody's got to catch the ball there after Antonio Brown, Waller, guys we'll get into, I'm sure, throughout the year. Hunter Renfrow is somebody I've picked up in deeper formats. But yeah, it's already seems to start with Antonio Brown. It's from the helmet to the, him voicing what did he tweet the picture of the fine that he got from Mike Mayock and then reportedly had to be held back by teammates like going after a guy like Mike Mayock? Man,
yeah.
Wow.
I don't know, man.
It's been a crazy couple weeks. I don't even know if I've talked to you about Andrew Luck retiring. It has been a crazy couple weeks.
We're just
we did. You're right. We did. Yeah.
I just finished baseball. You're still in baseball for another couple weeks, unfortunately for you, but we are. That's it, man. It's football season. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. We are here. And I want to remind everybody, make sure you're downloading that LineStar app. Make sure you upgrade to the premium product so you can play along with us in every sense because we plan on winning you money and plan on having a lot of fun with you this football season. Let's start with 1 o'clock and let's start with the Rams and Panthers because enough with this Thursday night game. Packers, Bears, standalone. If you want to play the loop, it's fine. I don't. I just want to watch this football game. So let's get into the Rams and Panthers. All right. And when we're looking at salaries right away, I have to say I'm already excited about the Todd Gurley discount. Okay, it's 7,900 over on DK. I like that number already. A 76 over on FanDuel. He's basically priced the way Mark Ingram used to be priced. Like that's pretty much what you're getting for Todd Gurley. And yeah, maybe they will pull off a little bit at certain times, but I still say the touchdown upside's there, which makes me in particular excited about him on the FanDuel side. So let's get after it. It's on the road. Your thoughts already on the Todd Gurley pricing so far to start the year, week 1?
Yeah, I love it. You nailed it. Absolutely. He's one of my favorite tournament plays. I wouldn't roll him out there in cash just in case they actually do scale back and he does, maybe, he suffers a knee injury early on. That's certainly a possibility. So I'm not going to put a ton of money on Todd Gurley, but I am going to play him in tournaments because you're absolutely right. I mean, he's not priced where he should be and where his ceiling is. Like, if Todd Gurley was 100% healthy, we're talking about Todd Gurley in one of the highest total games on the main slate. We're talking about him being priced with Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott, who's not going to have a full workload on Sunday. So he has that type of ceiling. And in my opinion, if there's a game to play him, it's this one. He's had the entire summer off. He should be healthy. I'm not fully buying into him being healthy throughout the year, getting that same type of workload we have seen over the past couple of years. But if anything, it's week 1. It's right now. So I'm all about him. I love the price. I love the shot. I wonder if people are going to just take in all of the outside off-season noise of, him being scaled back and working on one knee and not even deal with him. I like it. I like it a lot.
I like him on both. I think the ownership's going to be low. And I actually think this doggo hunt is a flex play in cash games too. I really do. Over on DraftKings, I think he can get away with it because I think he's going to have at least. I mean, I'm going to set it at 1.5 touchdowns today for Sunday. Look, man, Todd Gurley is one of the best running backs on the planet. I'm just not about this noise where all of a sudden he's done. And maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. Oh my God, it's Darrell Henderson, it's Malcolm Brown, and it's all crap show. No, I'm not going to deal with it. The receivers over on the FanDuel side, they're all pretty much the same. Cooks is 7, Woods is 7, Kupp is 6,800. I prefer Kupp out of the slot in terms of return on investment, especially over on DK in the full PPR at 5,700. I will take that discount. On FanDuel, I think the upside for touchdown lies with Robert Woods a little bit in this particular matchup. What's your feeling about these wide receivers here and Goff too, if you have one?
Yeah, this is a game that I want a piece of for sure on both sides. I think Kupp is my favorite of the bunch. I think we're on the same page. I wonder if he's going to have a full workload right away too. There were some rumblings out of the Rams camp that maybe they'll scale him back in the first couple of weeks that he'd be on a pitch count. I'm not really sure if that's going to be the case or not. I like Robert Woods a lot. I view Woods as kind of like Kupp, the safety guy. I mean, last season at least 7 targets in 13 of his final 15 games. He was just a solid, safe floor there. It seemed like every single week he was catching at least 5 passes and getting 60 yards. That's a nice floor. And then with Brandon Cooks, he has that upside, right? He has the high ceiling. He's a guy that can hit the century mark in terms of yards, get you that bonus if you're on DraftKings. So both of those guys, and then obviously you bring in Kupp, who is, really Goff's favorite target, especially inside the red zone. He's led that team in red zone targets since they've both played together. And, I was just quickly looking at Gurley just for a second. 40 touchdowns from Todd Gurley in the last 2 seasons. 40. Yeah, that's unbelievable. So yeah, that's a good over under 1.5. I mean, a healthy Gurley, we'd be setting it at 2.5.
Yeah, look, and I'll tell you what, I'm fading Panthers a little bit here. McCaffrey's a great player. He's super expensive. He's at 8,800 on DK. Over on the FanDuel side, 89. So there's no quarter there. And as far as when you look at the matchups for the corners too, I think DJ Moore and Samuel have their work cut out for him. They got Peters and Talib on either side. Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like I think Samuel is a trap this week with Talib on him because of the low cost. People see that 5,900 over on FanDuel. They'll see the 42 on DK and want to get involved. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying I don't like the matchup. I think Talib is still a good enough corner that he's going to give Samuel a fit. So it's going to be the McCaffrey show, and we'll see if they are, really going to hold him back from the from the goal line, as they've said. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, he's the one guy in that top range though that I will pay up for. I'd rather him than Barkley. Just higher ceiling, better game.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to the Eagles at home hosting the Washington Redskins. Now, LineStar has Carson Wentz as the second highest return on investment quarterback. My only concern is how long he is going to be useful in this game, because I feel like they're going to jump ugly on them, and I feel like the second half is going to be a little bit of a coast job. Which is good news probably for Jordan Howard and maybe Miles Sanders. Yeah. But for Wentz, I feel like it just might limit it in upside. I think cash game wise, I get it 100%. So I think LineStar cash game quarterback, 5,700 on DK, a good price there, 76, a medium price for the quarterback over on FanDuel. But For me, dude, it's always Wentz and Ertz, and it's in cash, and it always works, and it's going to work today. How do you feel about the Eagles in this one?
Yeah, Jake always says this, Seal. He always says like the cake and not the icing, and I totally get it with Carson Wentz and all of his
I like
weapons.
cake and icing.
Yeah, me too. I like it both,
Yeah.
and there's a lot to like about this Eagles offense. Really, I mean, you could eat it all up. And for Carson Wentz, where's he going to go? Like, there's so many weapons with Zach Ertz. I think is his number one option, but they got Deshaun Jackson, his first real deep threat ever that he's had. They tried in years past with Mike Wallace and Torrey Smith, and it just didn't quite work out. So Deshaun Jackson's back. They've already talked about taking shots with him down the field, getting him a touchdown in his first game back in Philly against his former team, playing for another former team. So there's a lot to like with this Eagles offense. I don't know if I would play him in cash, to be honest. I get it. I understand it, but there is that risk that maybe he takes a shot, and there's also that risk, like you talked about off the top, talking about this game, that potentially they do get up and maybe they scale him back and McCown gets in there in the fourth quarter. All of those are possibilities, but I do like him as one of my favorite tournament quarterbacks. We saw from him 2 years ago, MVP-like season, all of those weapons, arguably the best offensive line in football. You don't know what running back is going to be able to get the ball, but you can sprinkle in 2 or 3 of them for sure. Darren Sproles is going to get some touches as well. Whether you think he's not, he just will. So there's a lot to like about Wentz and his weapons. I just don't know I don't know if I would play him with anybody else. Maybe Zach Ertz, but that's it. Wentz is probably the only Eagle I'm interested in this weekend.
All right, I'm a hard pass on the Redskins with one exception, and it's my boy at 3,400 on DK is a great flex play or a third wide receiver, and it's Trey Quinn.
Yeah,
somebody needs to catch the football. Reed is not going to be there. Richardson has been hurt all preseason. I'm not ready for Geis. I'm not ready for Peterson, but I am ready on the full PPR and DK for Trey Quinn. I think he's a really sneaky play there. He allows you to go up to the board then and get some of the big running backs or big wide receivers too. I think it plays in tournaments, and it could even be a cash lineup builder. I think either way. So I'm a fan of the Trey Quinn. Anybody from Washington for you besides that, or is this a pass?
No, that's it. Yeah, it's Trey Quinn. Yeah, the Eagles gave out the third most catches last year to wide receivers. So, I mean, he should get, 8, 9 targets at least in this game?
And you figure they're going to be behind, which means if so, they're going to be throwing the ball a little bit, and I think Quinn's the guy that benefits there. Let's move on to the Bills and Jets. I don't have any faith in the floor of any of the Bills players save Josh Allen. I still say Josh Allen, very good. Won us a ton of money, man. We were on that Josh Allen train last year on the pre-snap. And so far to start, just 5,600 over on DraftKings on FanDuel. He's 69. You're getting a bit of a discount there. So I would take Josh Allen without anybody else because we don't know what the running back situation is. We're not sure who the favorite target is now with the new pieces. So I will sit back and watch that. On the Jets side of the football, where's your temperature for Le'Veon Bell? Because we're taking some big pieces out because, when you look at it, no Steelers, no Pats in the main slate, and no Saints, no Texans. So you're taking some big time weapons out, which means Le'Veon Bell is one of the few premier weapons in football on this slate. How do you feel about Le'Veon Bell and his value this week?
Yeah, I think, much like Gurley, right? He's priced $800 cheaper than Todd Gurley on DraftKings. And, if Le'Veon Bell is 85% of what he was with the Steelers, he's going to return value. I like him a lot more on DraftKings. I don't know how much success he's going to have. I have a lot of respect, actually, for the Buffalo Bills defense and the pressure that they can generate.
I agree.
Yeah,
they are one of the better defenses. And look, if Darnold reverted week 1 to a little bit of the happy interceptor, it could be a big day for the Buffalo defense.
Yeah, and the Bills secondary, I mean, they held some marquee quarterbacks to pretty brutal games last year, to be honest. I was fading to a point, especially in Buffalo. I know this game's in New York, but especially in Buffalo, I was not playing a quarterback in Buffalo. So I have respect for their defense, but I think Lev Bell is a better play on DraftKings. I think he'll catch a few balls. I would, at least 6 or 7 balls. I don't think he's going to have that great game on FanDuel where, you only get the half point for the catch. I think he's definitely a better play on DraftKings. There is one guy that I do like in this game from the Buffalo side, and we were talking about, I agree with you, we need to wait and see, what this offense is going to look like, but I do, I would take too much stock into preseason, but I liked what I saw early on with Cole Beasley. I mean, these two only played about 40 snaps together, and, he had 8 targets, 7 catches, 71 yards. I think it's just a safety valve for Josh Allen. I wouldn't be surprised if, that's his favorite weapon all season long, Cole Beasley.
It wouldn't shock me either. I've also mentioned
Just
that in a
dirt
few
cheap.
different shows. He's dirt cheap, and I get it. On the full PPR, I get it. All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next one is Minnesota Vikings at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, look, you can throw on the Falcons, okay? That's not a good secondary. See, Buffalo's a good secondary. Hence, I'm not playing around with any of these guys. You know, those guys hit hard too. Those
Oh, man,
those
do they ever?
safeties,
Yeah.
you know, Poyer and those guys hit hard, and no Robbie Anderson. Whereas the Falcons, you can throw on them all day. Doesn't matter. And I absolutely love Adam Thielen, especially because Stephon Diggs is not 100%. So we'll see what happens, even if he plays. I'm not expecting a lot, but you look at the price for Thielen, you're getting a nice discount in this matchup. I'm not the biggest Trufant guy. I think Thielen can beat him. 6,800. Give it to me. It's 74 over on FanDuel. To me, if I'm going to pick one piece from this one, it's going to be Adam Thielen. I'm going to wait and see on the Dalvin Cook. I'm not saying it's a bad play. I'm saying you can, but then you kind of have to be all in on the Vikings, and I don't think I am quite all in, but I do like the one-off on Thielen. Are you all in on the Vikings? Do you think you like maybe the trio this week? Maybe it's a Thielen, Cook, Cousins kind of a week against that bad Falcons defense.
Yeah, it's not a bad option. I like Thielen. I'm with you on Thielen for sure. You know, let's not forget about the start he had last season, and I think he just kind of tailed off because they had no run game, and it was just, you know, Kirk Cousins was just getting hit and he's getting smacked, you know, numerous times because everyone knew he was going to throw the football. But so I do like him, especially if Diggs, like you alluded to, even if Diggs does play, he's probably not going to be 100%. So maybe we could still get a boost from Adam Thielen. No, Dalvin Cook, I wouldn't play him in cash. I probably won't play him all year in cash. I probably won't, honestly. I mean, he's missed 21 games in 2 years. I just can't risk it. I'm not going to put big money. It's like Carson Wentz. I just don't know if this guy's going to be able to complete a game. But the Falcons have allowed the most catches to running backs over the last 2 years. There's a large enough sample size. It goes all the way back to, Joe, when your Patriots played them in the Super Bowl and James White had that remarkable game.
And it was
like, this has been a trend for a while.
It was a trend for a very long time.
Yeah.
I just
So Cooks at least is healthy. I don't know, catch a few balls, but again, I would not play him in cash.
No, I agree. Cash is a little scary. In the tournament format, I think I'm a little bit better with that. Let's talk about the Falcons a little bit. Speaking of running backs, Devontae Freeman is 6,700 over on FanDuel. That's a pretty good price for him as well. Just 53
real good
on
price
DK.
Over there.
That is a fantastic price for him. I mean, let's start there because I do believe they are going to get him back on the program. And it's hard for me not to look and say, okay, is he going to have 100 all-purpose yards and a couple catches and a touchdown? Probably. And if so, man, that 53, that's an easy return on DK.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's only a couple years removed from 73 catches and 1,000 yards on the ground, almost 600 in the air, and finishing as the number one running back in fantasy football. So this is an awesome price for him. I love him over on DraftKings, and no Tevin Coleman around. Nobody else has really looked impressive. Ito Smith, I'm yeah. So right now, it's the same thing that applies for Gurley. He is healthy right now. Freeman's probably a guy that you looked over in the third round of your season-long draft, and you're sitting there next to Leonard Fournette, and you're like, I don't want either of these guys. And Dalvin, like, I just don't know if they're going to be able to stay healthy. But right now, week one, these guys are fresh. They're healthy. All the workload is going to go through Freeman. He's going to catch some balls at the backfield. He has always been the goal line back, even when Tevin Coleman is there. He is going to be the goal line back right now. So, yeah, at this price, for sure. He's probably my favorite Falcon of the bunch.
Yeah, me too, in terms of ROI, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
then you got to pay through the nose for the Ryan Julio. It's going to cost you $1,650 combined on FanDuel.
Not really interested.
Yeah. No, and it's expensive on DK too. So I don't mind the Calvin Ridley one-off if you're doing multi-entry, because I do think at 5,100 there, that's a pretty good price on DK. 65, it's okay, but on DK a little bit better there for Ridley, because we've all seen that happen too, especially, Rose will be on Julio, which means that Waynes will be on the other side. I think Ridley to me has a real opportunity in this game. If I'm going to pick one of them, that's how I would go. Let's move on to it, because, oh my goodness, I want all the shares, Chris, of this next one. Give me all the Ravens against the Dolphins. It's going to be a long season for the Miami Tanks. I mean, the Miami Dolphins. I'm sorry. Did I say tank?
You did.
I should have said Dolphins. I want zero to do. I already can see Twitter abuzz with the Ryan Fitzpatrick buzz. No.
Ooh, gross. Yeah, I haven't seen any of that. I would throw up if I saw that.
They're like, well, last year everyone wrote him off, and then week one he was really good.
Yeah, but he had weapons in Tampa Bay.
Where's Godwin?
Exactly.
Where's Mike Evans? Where's Humphreys? Where's all those guys? Huh? Where are they?
No chance. I mean, him and Albert Wilson could probably hook up a few times, but where's the ceiling? Like what's the ceiling here? I
All
just
know
don't
is the
feel like
offensive
Miami's going
line,
to score
too.
points.
How about the offensive line now that Tunzel's not there too?
Exactly.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
and it is worth paying up for the Ravens defense this week because of it. I don't love the Ravens defense anymore. I don't think it's what it used to be. You take Mosley away, you take Suggs away. It's a lot of big pieces missing. They still got some personnel, don't get me wrong, but they've lost a little bit of veteran leadership and a little bit of talent. So most of the time I'm going to be off Baltimore. I don't care if it's chalk. Give me all the Baltimore Ravens defense. Give it to me.
And you know, it might not be chalk because a lot of people don't want to spend up for defense, but there's enough value in week one because these prices have been set for weeks, right? And there's been retirements, there's been injuries. Yeah, I have no problem. Yeah, I have no problem spending up
here.
It's very easy to do. I have a few FanDuel lineups with, the Ravens in there at 5K. Like, that's pretty expensive for a defense. I usually don't go that route. But like I said, there's enough value this week there you can make that happen.
This could be a 24-3 kind of a game.
That's kind of how I feel like it should be. Yeah.
All right, but the two pieces that I absolutely love because of it are Lamar Jackson at 6K over on DK and Mark Ingram at 51. I think they're going to just go with that heavy run attack. They're going to pound this team into oblivion. On FanDuel, I love it too. 74 for Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram for 66. To me, it's these two dudes, and they're both going to go over 100 yards rushing in this game. They're both going to have a rushing touchdown. That's take it to the bank. That's what I'm calling. And don't worry, I'm invested in it with you. So if you're coming with me, the boat's open. Let's get in here and let's go sailing. It's Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram, and it's ground and pound, and it's going to pound the Dolphins into submission. What say you, Chris Meaney?
Yeah, I'm with you. This is for sure. Both cash game plays. I like Lamar Jackson a lot, but on both sites. I mean, I was just looking at, a refresher of his game log and what he did. I mean, you look on DraftKings and FanDuel, it's right around the same, 17 to 22 points. I mean, he had one with 27, one with 22. Those are DraftKings points. He never threw for over 204 passing yards. Like, he didn't even have big passing games, and he was still returning value. Yeah. So, and Mark Ingram going to get a ton of touches, ton of play, can catch the ball out of the backfield. Miami is just not a good defense. They gave up the second most rushing yards last year. So, yeah, I like them both. Great calls.
All right. This next one is the one, okay? The Chiefs and Jaguars. Now, the Chiefs are a great offensive football team, but they're not a good defensive team. They lost personnel. I know Tyrann Mathieu is there. I get it. He's a good player. They still stink, okay? They stink defensively. And I don't love the Jaguars offense. We've had no bones about this. I have gone on record in the Black Book, on my podcast, on this show, everywhere, how much my disdain for Jacksonville, but not today. Not today, Chris Meaney, because today I am feeling D.D. Westbrook at 59 with Fuller trying to guard him, who's basically, as my friend Debro puts it, he's a human turnstile. And I just think it's going to be a very long day for them. And I think that Foles and Westbrook and Fournette can do enough, the three of them, to keep this to be a very, very close game. I can't wait for tomorrow to talk with Mike Randall about this game on the wagering show, because I want his thoughts on it, because I think this one's going to be a shootout, really close. And I look, because the Chiefs offense is going to score on everybody. I don't care even if you think the Jags defense is good. I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your
scored on them last
crazy?
year.
Am I drunk? What's going on here?
Okay. Yeah, they scored on them last year. And, Andy Reid's had the entire offseason planned for this game, week one. They're going to score some points. I love Dede, and I watched the Nick Foles preseason game, the two of them, and he threw the ball 7 times his way on 4 drives. So, I mean, that we know about Nick Foles, get the ball out quick. John DiFilippo, what they did in Philadelphia, he's going to play to his strengths in Jacksonville as well. Get the ball out quick. I know they want to run the football, but they're going to have to throw it. So, love Dede. They both do great things out of the slot. So, yeah, we're on the same page. That's the one guy. I didn't even mind Fournette either. Is just somebody that we've talked about again with Freeman, is somebody who just, when he plays, he's productive. He scores touchdowns. It's 16 and 21 career games. So, again, they want to run the ball. You can run on Kansas City. You can throw on Kansas City. And on the same time, they're going to score on you and they're going to run on you. So, I wonder if people are going to shy away from this game.
Over you, Chris.
Yeah, I feel like Vegas is almost. Did they forget how good their offense is?
The over-under, and this
just
is
because
51.5.
I know, but they're only giving the Jags 3 points here to win, 3.5. I think that they could win this game by a touchdown. I know it's in Jacksonville. It's a different team. Defense is good. Maybe we'll see something different from them offensively with Foles, but this is still the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, there's a lot of weapons on their side.
This is going to be the one that gets crazy. Now, here's the hard part: is how do you get involved in Kansas City?
Yeah,
because they're
that's the
expensive.
thing. You just don't know.
It's the hard part. I mean, on DK, Mahomes is 72. The only discount you're getting is McCoy at 46. Now, I will say this: if you're playing cash and you want to go Mahomes and Kelsey, I think it's fine. If you want to go Mahomes and Hill, I think it's fine. On DK, on FanDuel, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, the two main pieces are pretty much like you just lock one of them in. I think Kelsey's probably the safer touchdown bet than Tyreek Hill with Ramsey on him. I mean, not that Hill can't beat Ramsey, but I'll take my shot there with Kelsey. I think is just a little bit, because I do think if look, Kelsey is really proven to me that he's that guy. He's the number one tight end in football. So I don't really worry about him in any spot. And I love Tyreek Hill and all, but Ramsey's still a really good player. So it's expensive. I don't want to fade it, but I don't know, man. I have a hard time getting involved with the Chiefs on this end of it just because it's week one and there's so many discounts.
You're right. There are so many discounts. There's a ton of better spots. I mean, if you're a multiplayer in tournaments, like if you're going to put together like a dozen lineups, I mean, you'd be silly not to try this out, because as much as I'm saying the Chiefs and Vegas, what they're doing, I think it's going to be a tight game. It is in Jacksonville after all. The defense, I do think, is pretty solid there, despite what we saw from the last season. Well, the good news
is you get if you do want to go all in on this game, you can get enough of, you can get Westbrook and Fournette and save a little cash there.
Yeah.
You can even get McCoy and save some, what I mean? Like, you can get in on both ends of this game because the Jacksonville side is cheap and it'll be okay.
Right. And I just think a lot of these guys actually, there's an opportunity to get a Patrick Mahomes, I think, with a lower ownership, because he is the highest priced quarterback. A lot of people, I mean, even in season long leagues, like, you're probably listening thinking, man, yeah, Mahomes actually fell. Like, all these quarterbacks fell in my drafts. Like, what's going on? Years ago, everyone was drafting quarterbacks. Now the thing is like, don't draft them early and don't spend up on them in DFS. So, and in a matchup in Jacksonville, so I feel like Mahomes may come with the lower ownership, maybe the lowest all year that we're going to see from Patrick Mahomes.
That's what makes it intriguing as a tournament option, because the ownership will be just zero, just because it's just a total fade by so many people out there. There'll be some noobs that get into it, but they'll get into it on the wrong end. They won't get into it on both ends of it. They'll just pick the Chiefs and not realize that, hey, wait, defense sucks. So
that's what makes Foles is 5'3". Foles is 5'3" if you wanted to punt at the quarterback position.
And that's what makes it so interesting. Or if you want to play one of those super flex things where you can have FanDuel, where you can play the two quarterbacks, putting Foles and Mahomes there offsets a little cost for you. All right, let's get to the Tennessee Titans and Cleveland Browns last 1:00 game. Now, the Browns were not good against the run last year, and I'd love to make a case for Derrick Henry. Can you?
It's just game script. That's it. You got to predict game script. And for me, I feel like Cleveland, and I have some respect for Tennessee's defense as well. I mean, especially against the run, this may not be the best game for Nick Chubb. I mean, he could touch the ball 20 times, but he may not be that efficient. But they're going to come out slinging here. All the hype, Odell Beckham Jr., all of that. If there's a scenario, and I'm painting in my head that they get up by a couple touchdowns, and Tennessee has to get away from what they want to do and run the ball with Derrick Henry, there's an opportunity that they're going to have Marcus Mariota throwing the football. This hasn't looked good over the past couple of years, and not even in preseason. So I don't even know. Like, it could be a Deion Lewis game. I just don't want anything to do with anything from Tennessee. Like, I'm just going to dial up the Browns defense in a few spots.
Yeah, honestly, this one, Browns defense, I get. Browns defense and Baltimore Ravens defense are the two defenses that I want. And they're pretty cheap. DK, especially, I think the Browns are 34 if memory serves. So pretty cheap in terms of getting involved with those guys. But I don't know, dude. Like, this game to me is a bit of a pass because for everything that you said, I'm just kind of walking away. I'd love to go with Henry here, but I just feel like the upside is just limited, unfortunately. And
if you do feel like it's going to be a low scoring, you're listening at home. If you feel like it's going to be a low scoring game, which is potential, it could be, right? There's no guarantee that Cleveland's going to come out and throw 4 or 5 touchdowns as much as everybody wants them to. If it is low scoring, then it will be potentially a Derrick Henry and a Chubb game, and these guys are going to get a ton of touches. But I just don't know where the ceiling lies here for these two in this week. This game is pretty much a pass for me.
All right. That's the 1:00. Now it's time to get serious. Okay. Now we go. All right. We were ended on a streak of epic proportions of upsets where I was calling those Carolina Panther losses every week. It was a magical run. If you were listening, you made a ton of money off the Panthers demise. Sure. And you made a ton of money off the Colts rise as well. Yes. And I will say this. I don't think I'm quitting the Colts. You like this? This is my upset special. I think the Chargers without Derwin James, I think the Chargers without Melvin Gordon are going to feel a little bit of that impact. And I don't think they realize, out there that they're missing two huge pieces of this team on both sides of the ball. And I don't know, man. I think the Colts are in this. Now, I don't think it translates to DFS. This is a topic for tomorrow. DFS wise, I pretty much have faded this game altogether because I have no idea who Jacoby Brissett wants to throw the ball to. But I can tell you this, ownership's going to be low. And I think if there's one team this week that has a chance to go in and pull up a huge upset on the road, I think it's the me against the world Colts. There you go. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I don't hate it. I certainly like them on the spread. Originally when Andrew Luck was a part of the Colts, I mean, this was a 3-point game, and it was basically, neutral field. No, there's really no favorite. So they're giving the Chargers the 3 points being at home, and now it's
6.5.
Yeah, now it's jumped up to 6.5. Where I'm just like, you know what, Jacoby Brissett is not that bad. Like, sure, he's not Andrew Luck, but I have faith in the offensive line that I think is one of the best in football. I still like Marlon Mack. He still has an elite weapon in T.Y. Hilton. Frank Reich, I also believe in. He played to Nick Foles' strengths on the way to a Super Bowl. He could certainly play to Jacoby Brissett's strengths. There's more weapons now than when Jacoby... This is a much different feel than 2017. Like, say what you want about Funches or Paris Campbell, but at least there's some weapons there. There was nothing. It was bad coaching. It was a bad line. There was no weapons. So this is a much different feel. I think he can keep it close. The Chargers like to play at a slow pace as well. So, yeah, I don't know where I would go in DFS, to be honest with you. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is kind of sneaky on the ground. Like, he is that punt play because DraftKings and FanDuel, they've come out with their prices as if Luck was going to play. Right. So he is very, very cheap if you do want to go that way. I mean, the obvious is to pair him up with Ty, but I wouldn't be shocked if maybe Jack Doyle is this guy, because Jack Doyle they had a little bit of a connection a couple of years ago, so you can go that way if you want. But yeah, I'm not in terms of a betting standpoint. You guys are going to get into it. Randall's a great addition, by the way. But yeah, you guys, you guys will. I think he'll probably feel you on the Colts keeping this game close.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow. But dude, I'm just like, I think even Brissett just running out naked Jacoby Brissett without anybody else is fine too.
Yeah, I think
you just don't know what it's going to be. And on the Charger side, the only thing that I like, because I don't love the Keenan Allen price right now. I don't love the Eckler Justin Jackson thing with the split carries. Right. It's Mike Williams at 6,400 on FanDuel. Maybe give me a touchdown. That's about it. That's it. And other than that, man, I'm out. I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't mind Eckler, but I agree with you. There's a few guys. I wonder if he's going to be pretty chalky to the point where I'll probably fade him in tournaments. But those 2 December games when Gordon wasn't around, Eckler got a lot of play. He got like 28 carries and 13 targets. So I mean, he probably will out-snap and out-touch Justin Jackson. But if you told me Justin Jackson had more carries, I wouldn't be shocked.
No. All right, let's move on here. Let's go to Seattle, where the Cincinnati Bengals have their work cut out for them in that building. That is not a good spot for that defense, especially a bad defense. First shot out of the gate to have to go to Seattle. Not the best place for them to play at all. But I will say this. What I'll say about them is I still believe in Tyler Boyd. I still believe in Joe Mixon. And if you figure they're behind or trying to keep pace, that's not a bad thing for fantasy. So don't overlook it altogether. So are you feeling me on that too? Or do you think-
you and I are Boyd supporters. I like him. I mean, we saw a little bit of a downtick without AJ Green, but he's still fine. And you're right. They're going to have to pass the ball here. So I definitely
And
like,
your punt tight
Boyd.
end, I'm telling you right now, is Tyler Eifert. I'm telling you right now.
Another guy that you don't want to draft, but he's healthy.
I get it. You don't want to own him in season long, of course, because he might be injured right now. Who knows? What time
Dude
is it?
loves touchdowns.
Dude loves touchdowns. And I love
Really
touchdowns.
does.
He's 31 on DK over on FanDuel. He's 5,200. So, I mean, you want to talk about like punt play, a tight end, I'm going to fade the whole group altogether. Just try to go for a touchdown. Tyler Eifert's that guy. And I'm just saying they could. Now, granted, this could also get ugly, but it's not a cash game play. We're not talking about cash games. We're talking about the Bengals. We're talking about tournament play. On the other side of this, the Seahawks, this is another one where Moore's hurt. DK is not 100%. He got Russell Wilson by himself, basically, and he's playing with Metcalf, he's playing with Turner, and he's playing with Lockett. Lockett's been that guy. I don't know, man. I think it's Chris Carson, to tell you the truth. Carson's the piece that I like the most in this game, because I do think they will get a lead, and I do think they'll sit on it, and Carson's the dude at 66 over on FanDuel, and the DraftKings price is just 57. I think that's a huge bargain for him.
I expect him to have the highest ownership. He should. He should have the highest ownership. And I don't care about the chalk at all. How many times have we talked about that? Chalk is all right.
Chalk is okay.
At
As
times,
long as,
yeah,
you
it's
know.
fine. As long as he gives you that game that you expect. And
Drew
I
Brees at
expect it.
home. Oh, that's so chalky. Yeah, well, also
Yeah.
put up 100 million points. So
Yeah,
what?
no kidding. I mean, Chris Carson, fifth in rushing yards, fourth in rushing yards per game, third in rushing attempts per game last season. He is the goal line back. They're huge, heavy home favorites. They've won 10 straight home openers, and they've demolished their opponents over that span. 238-74 for my boy Paul Daner Jr. of the Athletic with those numbers. I was like, what? I had to go back and like just check out just to see the blowouts. And they do. They just blow teams out at home on home openers with it. So only guy I want is Chris Carson. I just feel like he's going to get all of the work. I love his price. You were talking about Ingram as a guy who's going to fall in the end zone. I think Chris Carson can fall in a couple times. And I love taking him back at home when they are big favorites like this because of what you talked about earlier is that they're just going to lean on him and run the clock out. And that's, I mean, as long as Carson can stay healthy this year, he's going to touch the ball 300 times.
I'm going to have so much Ingram and Carson this week, and I don't care.
Yeah, I like them both. I love them both.
Just give me the volume.
Both two teams that won. Nobody ran the ball more than those two teams last year.
And they're playing.
That's what they want to do.
Can't stop the run. So, come on. Like, what are we doing here? Let's just do it. All right. Now, this next one, this is going to have a ton of points, too. This one, the over-under is 51. I'm taking the over. Sorry. San Francisco at Tampa. Nobody plays defense here. Nobody. I know they brought in D Ford. I get it. I know Bosa's there. That's great. I don't care. There's going to be some points in this one. And let's start with the Tampa side. And LineStar App loves Winston's price. They think he's the best return on investment quarterback at 66 on FanDuel. On DK, and on the FanDuel side, 75. They have him very highly rated, and with good reason, because Richard Sherman is not what Richard Sherman was, but it doesn't matter because to me, it's Godwin. That's the dude I want at 6,900. I think he's got great upside on FanDuel, just 62 over on DK. Those are prices I can get behind. Forget the running backs because we don't know what they are. You could tell me it's Dare. You could tell me it's Jones or Barber. I don't care. I'm not making an investment there, but I will make investment on Godwin. That's the one piece in this one that I really like the most.
Yeah, and I like them all. I really do. I love Jameis. He's my favorite tournament quarterback of the week. Love the team implied total at 25. It's one of the highest on the board. And you just talked about the game total is one of the highest too. So I expect to see a few touchdowns in this game. We could even see a few interceptions. It's certainly possible. That's why I think you should stack this game because we're going to see some points. So I feel like Chris Godwin. There's part of me thought that. And it may be the case. Mike Evans may actually come with a lower ownership than Chris Godwin. Godwin's cheaper, the buzz is there, and it's legit, it's warranted. I like both of them. I also like OJ Howard. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game.
Yeah, Howard's another one too.
Yeah,
I would fade Ertz in favor of Howard, save the money this week because
agreed.
I think this will be more of a shootout where the Eagles, I think, will get a lead, and then that'll be it, and everybody just kind of gets eased off. And that's my worry with the Eagles game. I know it's going to be a lock, but how is it a lock? This one's wide open. This is
for sure
a complete cluster. Now, on the other side of this, I can't say that outside of Kittle that I have a lot of love for anybody in this offense either. Maybe it is Goodwin because maybe it's Goodwin and Godwin. Maybe it's all of them. I don't know. But that was the guy that Garoppolo liked the most, but this is a new era and new dudes here. What's your take on the 49ers end of this one?
Yeah, it's hard to get a feel. I don't mind taking shots on Goodwin in tournaments because you're dead on about these two and, him and Jimmy G having a connection. I actually don't mind taking a shot on Pettis because there's been so much negative buzz with him. There was a lot of positive, a few months ago that he was going to be the guy who's getting drafted early as that breakout wide receiver. And then there were some comments that, San Fran wanted to see more from him. And then just recently Kyle Shanahan talking about how he's the true one. He could do everything. He can play out of the slide, go wide. He can run the ball if they want to run the ball with him. Like he could absolutely do everything. So I wonder at his price, like he's priced, certainly on FanDuel, he's priced as if, he was that hype wide receiver. And with the most recent news of just not really knowing what to expect from him, I wonder if people will just shy away. And this is a game that I want a piece of. So I will take a couple shots on him in tournaments, and I will take a couple shots on Goodwin in tournaments. But I think, if you're playing cash and if you want to spend up at the tight end position, Kittle's the way to go. I think I would move the three. We know Travis Kelce and what he can do and Zach Ertz, but I think, Kittle is the guy and what could potentially be 50 points scored in this game.
All right, another tight end you could score with is Evan Ingram, and he's at 64 over on the FanDuel side. On DK, he's 4,800 as the New York Giants will travel in to take on the Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott, mind you, who finally did sign. Barkley's super expensive, as you would imagine. He's 9K, 9K and above on both sides, so you got to make a huge investment on him if you want involved in that, and that's fine. If you do, you want to go cash games and play Barkley and play that workload and fade quarterback and fade tight end and just do that. That's fine. There's enough running back value to do that this week. It's not what I would choose to do because I think you got to be careful on a week like week one where there are so many values where people can pump up, some of these floors of some of these very good players who are underpriced. So that's my only thing in terms of warning people about Barkley this week. It's not a bad play. Just got to be careful with it. How do you approach Barkley this week at that price in this matchup?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I would play him in cash. I mean, he's 15 touchdowns in 16 games.
That's not bad.
He's a pretty safe floor, right? I mean, he really is. I mean, he finished with at least 18 touches in each of his final 12 games. So there is a floor there. The offense runs through him, but the ceiling is not quite as high because at the end of the day, the Giants are just not going to score a lot of points.
All right, so what do you do here? You got Elliott, who's the same price. He's over 9K on both spots too, but hasn't played all preseason. I'm
not touching him. I can't touch him.
Is that an opportunity? Do you think that's the general
maybe
thing out there?
Yeah, maybe. You're probably right. I never really actually thought about it that way.
One thing I know about the Giants, not real good up front. Can't really stop a running back from catching the football very well either.
Yeah, I never really thought about it that way. I definitely wouldn't do it in cash, but you do make a good point is that I think most people, I'm starting to like him a little bit more. I think most people will originally go $9,200. No thanks. That guy just signed.
He hasn't played.
There's been reports that he's going to just have a handful of reps. But even if he does only, play
if he plays
40-50% of the snaps, he could certainly run into the end zone once or twice.
Right. Yeah, look, it's not the greatest play. I think it's an ownership play. It's when you're like trying to differentiate and you want to get some strange. I think Ezekiel Elliott is expensive, strange. Yeah. But potentially one that's gonna get you laid. You like that? There you go. That's what we do here at the pre-snap. We make funny things. Michael Gallup is at 56. Amari Cooper's at 75. Not touching either of these guys.
No, me neither. I have no real interest actually.
Everything else is a fade
in this game, to be honest. Yeah.
No. And speaking of no interest, let's get to this last one. Let's get to the Detroit Lions on the road against Arizona, and there's already some negative news coming out from Kyler Murray. Oh, here we go. Here it so begins. Here's my hot take on this. Let's see what you think. I think Arizona finds a way to win this game, and Kyler Murray makes a play, and they do. And then the hype train gets out of control for Kyler Murray, and it's all downhill after that. What do you think about this? Because somebody's got to win this game, I think.
Yes, somebody does. I don't mind picking Arizona either. I mean, I don't think Detroit should be favored against any team in the league, especially on the road. It'd be interesting. Arizona is one of those teams that I'm intrigued. I want to see the offense. It's been a vanilla offense. It's throughout the preseason. There's been some good. There's been a lot of bad. Watching Kyler Murray in the preseason so far, the offensive line is not great. This team is not great overall. He's dealing with a lot of just inexperienced wideouts, really, besides Larry Fitzgerald. I wonder what his ownership will be like. I mean, he's going to call his own number. He's going to run around a little bit. I don't mind maybe him in a DJ stack in a tournament. Just try to be a little bit different. But on the other side, Detroit wants to run the football. So I have a little bit of interest in Kerryon Johnson. I mean, Arizona coughed up the most rushing touchdowns and the most fantasy points to backs last year. And it was only 10 games, but Kerryon had 5.4 yards per carry.
I like it more on DK than on FanDuel. I'm terrified of CJ Anderson.
Yeah, that's a good call. I was gonna go there and say that that's the risk of playing him in cash. You could see Kerryon get like 20 carries and a couple catches, but get pulled out of every little red zone package, which is certainly concerning. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then no Patrick Peterson, so Kenny Golladay should, have a decent day. But I feel like Detroit's going to want to run the football, and Arizona rather is going to want to play this up-tempo offense quick. But I don't know, man. Really, honestly, don't know what to expect from Kyler.
This one's at 46.5, and honestly, I don't see how.
I agree.
Give me the under in the 46.5 all day long.
I think they're just giving a lot of respect to Arizona and just coming out and getting like 3 or 4 touchdowns here.
Dude, this game
don't know if I see it.
this game reeks of like 14-13.
Yeah.
I don't know. This reeks of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of ineptitude out there still. It's still week one. Not everybody's going to be running like Mahomes and that offense. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have the same weapons, doesn't have the same line. And, Detroit can dial up some pressure. Like, they're going to actually be able to get after Kyler Murray. So I don't know. Like, he's not going to have much time in the pocket, I don't think.
All right. Now, if you're playing that loop around with the Sunday night and the Mondays, that's some big time offenses out there. I'm super excited on Monday. I'm sure we'll preview those 2 Monday night games because you can get involved in those 2 as well. But Steelers and Pats, I'm looking forward to this one. I don't like when it's a big game like this so early. Like, I'm just not ready for it. Like, I can't, as a Patriots fan, can I get the Bills first, or can I get the Titans? Give me like some like one.
You've had enough breaks, okay?
It's not a break. I want everybody to be rolling. It's hard week 1 to have a game of this magnitude, but here we are.
Yeah.
I think that New England Patriots defense is much better than people realize. But again, this is going to be one of those games where this one, the number is 49. I think this one goes over. Like I just do, as much as I like the defense of the Pats. I'm hard pressed not to see this one going over that total. But look, it'll be certainly fun to see what Josh Gordon is at this point. It'll be fun to get an idea of who's going to be that secondary wide receiver with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what are you looking for out of this game?
Yeah, I'm looking for just that, what you left off with. I think it's going to be James Washington. I think I'm really intrigued with him. I've never been a big Moncrief fan. I just don't feel like he's ever been able to stay healthy. He may be Big Ben's favorite target inside the red zone. That's certainly a possibility. But what I know about Big Ben, and obviously Antonio Brown is gone from that team. Somebody's got to eat up on all those targets and those yards. I see James Washington. I see a burner, and I see an opportunity, and I know Ben will see it. If it's any time at one-on-one coverage, he's going to take some shots with James Washington. So I think Washington is a great tournament play. I think Gordon is a great tournament play. And, the guys in the slot like Edelman and Juju and James White, Connor, I think those guys are going to be safe cash game plays if you want to get involved altogether. Those are guys that you could put in your cash lineup. But I'm looking forward to seeing James Washington. I kind of expect big things from him, and that's kind of changed my tune recently. I was maybe feeling like Moncrief would be the touchdown guy, but I think we'll see some big plays from Washington. I think he's going to be a good GPP guy for the whole year.
All right. Now, if you're a fan of Chris and myself from the MLB show from On Deck, then we did a fun little segment where we called home runs, and we finished the year tied. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. I won. I
think you got it on the last day. Did you not?
Mitch Garver, the second to last day. I got it. I got ahead of you on the second to last day. Mitch Garver was the guy for me. So congratulations. It was hard fought, my friend.
Should have picked Pete Alonso every night.
I know. Just pick Pete Alonso every night. You're good. 45. Well, my good. But we're going to bring back that same feel with a new segment right here called Finding the End Zone. And it starts right now. So Chris Meaney, it's time to find the end zone. We're going to pick a running back and a wide receiver each that we think is a lock to score this week and is a good ROI. So, Chris, it's a new segment, so I will let you go first at running back. Who's your dude? Who's finding the end zone?
Chris Carson. That's my guy. I think he's going to find the end zone. I already talked a lot about him. Both of us have already kind of touched on him throughout the show, but I really do like Chris Carson a lot. Not only this weekend, but this season.
Yeah. Okay. For me, great ROI. Great matchup. It's Mark Ingram. I don't care. Not every pick has to be sexy, but Mark Ingram's going to find the end zone against the Miami Dolphins. So lock it up. Good return, good price on both sides for him. Give me Mark Ingram. Wide receiver, I will go first. I'll tell you who's finding the end zone against the Falcons. It's Adam Thielen. That's right. Adam Thielen's going to find the end zone. It's touchdown season. Adam Thielen was brilliant last year in the first half. He will be brilliant again. It's time to get back on the train. I know Cousins has been shaky this offseason. We dust off preseason because it doesn't mean all that much. So give me a wide receiver who's going to score this week. Who's finding the end zone for you, Chris?
All right, I'm going to head to Tampa Bay, and I am going to go with everybody's favorite breakout and sleeper this year, Chris Godwin. Some big games last season without Adam Humphries and Deshaun Jackson. Both of those guys gone, and he is a big-time player inside the red zone. There, Jameis Winston has a couple options inside the red zone. Hopefully he looks Godwin's way this Sunday. All
right, so there you have it. That's just finding the end zone for us. If you enjoy the show, make sure you rate, review, give us the 5 stars, give us 6 or 7 stars, however stars you can give us. We want
all
them
the
all.
stars.
Yeah, and subscribe right here to the PreSnap. Again, we'll be here every Monday, every Thursday, and every Friday for you, talking DFS, talking wagering, getting everything that you need. We love doing the show. This is what we love to do, and we are very grateful to be back here for season 2 of the PreSnap. And there's nobody I'd rather be doing this show with than my boy Chris Meaney. So, Chris, I guess gotta say, man, I am looking forward to this year. It's going to be great fun. Like I said, I mean it. There's nobody else I'd rather do this show with, because I feel like we have, when you get two minds like ours together with the right attitude, I feel like there's nothing but success, and I hope it carries over for all of our listeners this year.
Yeah, respect, man. Right back at you. We had a good, strong finish in football, and I feel like we carried that over for baseball. So, if we brought in a couple new listeners along the way, welcome. A lot of big time respect for LineStar and what they do over there as well. So get involved. Anytime you have any questions, don't hesitate. You can always hit us up.
All right, that'll do it for us. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at LineStar App, at LineStar NFL, at Joe Pisapia 17, and at Chris Meaney. There's nothing left to do. The PreSnap is over. Now it's time to set down, win.
You've been listening to the PreSnap podcast, brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy football experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.